Hi there, this is Crystal, and I am here to share another 12 by 12 layout with you. So I've actually already gotten started with this one just a little bit, mostly because I didn't think I was going to film it, and I wasn't really sure how it was going to work out. But it's going okay, and I've decided to just go ahead and film it. So let me catch you up on what you've missed. So I have a photo. This is from a few years back, taken at a beach. And I really wanted to use this paper from Sunny Days. This is the parasol paper to document this photo. Since you can see the beach umbrella, I thought this would be a good one to use this photo or to use this paper with. And I really wanted to do some stitching in the same colors. So I actually took this paper with me to the store and picked out some colors that I thought matched really well. I already had one, the navy one. And then I drew some circles just using a circle template. It's a 1 7/8 inch circle. I just drew some circles with a pencil and then poked some holes using just my piercer tool and a little punching mat. I used those to punch some holes, and then I stitched in that same kind of pattern that is on this paper. So before I did that, I kind of laid out some things that I knew I wanted to include. So I punched a bunch of these circles out and I kind of arranged them on the page the way I wanted them. And then I drew around the template to figure out where the other circles were going to go. So I kind of already know where these are going to go. I know my photo is going to go about right there. What I need to do now is erase all these pencil marks, glue these down, and then start actually creating layers behind my photo and adding embellishments and all of that. So I'm going to go away and do the erasing and put these back where I had them, and then I will be back here to show you the result. Okay, so I fibbed a little bit. I have not yet erased all of the lines, but I did lay out the little punched out parasols where I want them. And I had to go away to do that because the photo I took is on my phone and that's what I'm using to film with. So I needed to look at that to get them laid out where I originally had them. But before I start erasing things, I want to glue these down. And I think I'm going to use some foam adhesive to do that, or at least for some of them for the top ones. So I'm gonna grab some foam adhesive. Okay, so I have some foam adhesive and I have some double-sided tape because for some reason the tape runner I used does not like to work on this foam. So I am going to put you on fast forward and get all these things glued down and then also get the lines erased and then start embellishing. So I'm going to start gluing things down, and I decide pretty quickly that the double-sided tape I had pulled out is not going to work. I don't think it's going to stick well over the top of the stitching that I've done. So I end up grabbing some liquid glue and using that instead. And that works. That definitely adheres things down over the top of that stitching. It does end up warping the page just a little bit, so I have some trouble getting it to lay flat. I just have to put some heavy things on top of it for a little bit. And I'm not going to make you watch the entire process of me gluing down all of these little bits. I just know that I'm putting some of them up on foam and I'm gluing some of them straight down to the page just to get that variation in dimension across this section of little circles on my page. So once I get all of these little circles glued down, I start embellishing. So the first things I grab are the Sunny Days bits. I'm using the March Hip Kit Club kits for this page. It has tons of Maggie Holmes Sunny Days in it, and that's basically what I'm going to end up using from this kit. So I start with the chipboard embellishments, I believe. Oh no, actually I'm going to map my photo first. So I'm grabbing all of the Sunny Days papers that came in this kit and trying to decide which ones I want to use to map my photo. And I'm going to play around with this for a little bit. And I did leave this whole section in the video because I wanted you to see my process while I'm deciding what layers to add behind my photo. So let me move all of that over to the side so you can see what I'm doing. And I'm just, like I said, playing around, trying to figure out what looks best behind my photo. I know I need something kind of light directly behind my photo. I'm going to end up going with that pink, that super light pink paper right there. I do play around just a little bit before I make that final decision. But the thing I like about that light paper is that it almost acts as a white border. So it's super light. It's a color, it's pink, it's a pink that is on the spread already, but in the end it almost looks like just a white border around the photo. So I think it makes the perfect first layer, and I think I am going to decide that here in just a second. Yes, so I decided to go with this one. I leave off that yellow bit. I don't want that yellow bit, so I just move the photo over enough to be able to trim around it and not include any of that yellow border on the page. And then I just use my trimmer to trim around it. And I'm using just a really, really thin border of this light pink paper. And there you can see it. You can hardly see it. It just kind of acts like if I had printed my photo with a white border. And then I'm using this pink pattern next, just to bring in some more of that pink color. And then I'm going to use, this is the back side of the specialty paper. It's kind of a mint green print. And here's where I stop matting the photo exactly around the photo. So this is where I start doing just kind of chunky layers behind the photo. So generally when I'm matting my photo, I don't want all of the mats to be perfect around the photo. I want them to stick out in some places and not in others, and just to be kind of like just messy layers behind my photo. So that's what I'm doing here. You can see neither of those papers goes all the way around the photo, and then I'm going to do the same thing with this heart paper. I'm just kind of deciding where I want to trim it. I don't want it to go all the way to the edge of the photo on the right side. It will stick out on the left side, but not on the right. And then just trimming the rest of that off, and that's it. That's my photo layers. I like to do that just because it looks a little bit less structured, a little bit less formal. So I like how that looks. I'm going to start adhering that to the page, I believe, next. And then I'm going to grab the chipboard pieces. Since those are the largest embellishments in this kit, I want to start with those so I can make sure I have room to add the ones that I want to. Oh, but first I'm going to finally erase all those pencil marks. I don't make you watch that either. It was super easy to do though, so because I had done just really light pencil marks on the page. So now I'm playing with the chipboard embellishments. I pull off the adhesive on the back just because I want to be able to move them around without having to commit to where they are on the page right away. So it's super easy to just pull off that very, very back layer of adhesive, and then it's just kind of like a non-adhesive chipboard piece. So I do that with all of these little bits. I'm just kind of throwing things down that I think might work, and then I'll come back and edit through them later. I really wanted to use the two beach umbrellas that were in these embellishment packs. So there's the one chipboard one, and then there's the one I'm playing with now that's from the sticker sheet. I do end up using the chipboard one, but I couldn't make the sticker one work. It looked fine on the video actually, but in person, it just looked out of place. I couldn't make it fit in that spot. So it doesn't make it onto the page, but the chipboard one does. So I'm making really two little clusters, one on either side of the photo. And I'm kind of making them look like little beach scenes, like what you would, have next to you if you were just hanging out on the beach, which is what's happening in the photo. So that seemed appropriate to me. And then I am adding that little cluster of phrase stickers or chipboard. There's a chipboard and a sticker, and then I'm going to add a label to the bottom of that here in a little bit too. Just below the photo, right next to that bottom embellishment cluster. And then for my title, before I do my title, I decided to add some of these little puffy hearts. This is from the puffy thickers that were part of the Sunny Days collection. I added some of those to the center of the little parasols that I cut out of that paper. And now I'm going to think about my title. I decided to try this Sun Plus Shine, and I like the way it looks, so I'm going to end up going with that. I did just cut it off of the acetate backing so that I could set it there without committing, but that's exactly where it's going to end up going. So because I pulled the adhesive off of the chipboard, I do have to add my own liquid glue to make them stick, which isn't a problem for me, but that's just a consideration. The tape runner won't work on the back of the chipboard once you've pulled off the adhesive. It just kind of shreds the chipboard that's behind it. So you do have to have some liquid glue to make those stick to the page. So I'm thinking just about other things I can add. I'm going to add a few more of those puffy hearts, that is, just here and there to kind of spread them around the page and to use them up. There's only a few left on the sheet, so I figure I might as well just stick them all onto the page and get them used. Gluing everything down, like I said, and I'm going to end up popping up that little drink. It's a little like lemonade with a straw. I looked to see if there was a chipboard version of that, and there wasn't, so I'm just gonna add a little bit of foam behind it. It felt like it needed to be lifted off the page just a little bit. Things were a little too flat right there in that spot, so that is one way to lift up your stickers if they are not dimensional and you want to add some dimension to them. And then I do the opposite with that chipboard piece and pull off some of the layers because I didn't like the fact that it was right next to that little swimsuit that's chipboard and that they were the same dimension, that they were the same depth. So I just pulled off a few layers of that phrase and that phrase chipboard, and I like that much better. So still just playing around with some hearts, adding them here and there. Like I said, just getting them used up. And then I think I'm going to add this other puffy piece that says Best Day Ever as kind of a subtitle. I'm just working out where I want to put that. So I'm going to stick down the title and commit to that, and then decide where I want to put that Best Day Ever puffy sticker. So I move it around a little bit. I think maybe center, maybe right justified. I end up putting it there basically right where it is now in the end, after being very indecisive about where I wanted to put it. But I like that adds a little bit of black to the page. There are some black elements here and there in some of the embellishments, and my photo is pretty dark, so I felt like it really helped just kind of add a little bit more black, like I said, to the page. I do add that camera up above the title just to kind of make a small third cluster there. And then I find some more hearts on this sticker sheet, so I'm going to go ahead and add those as well. I'm trying to put a heart in the center of all of those little parasols. There's the label. I'll end up adding my date to that. But I have a hard time finding one for all of them. I eventually make it work, but it takes me a minute to figure out how to get hearts on all of the little circles that I punched. And I am nearly done. That's just about it for the page. Off camera, I do end up adding some black splatters. I add my journaling here. I'm just making a few pencil lines, and then I'll handwrite my journaling. And like I said, I add a date stamp to that label that I added below the photo. So off camera, I add some black splatters. I wasn't sure if I wanted to include them, so I actually took photos and everything without, and then added the black splatters, and I ended up liking the way it worked. It's always a little bit scary adding black splatters to a page. It makes me a little bit nervous, but it worked out this time. So you'll see that in the close-up photos. There are a ton of close-up photos coming up. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and found some inspiration, and I will see you all back here very soon.